Hello everyone, and welcome back to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And I am keeping up with my stream. Today is March the 24th, 2023, a Friday, so you know what that means. I got an extra long stream planned for you guys, so you guys can just enjoy my voice and chill out while I do some work, which is always a good thing. And to start out this stream, the only thing I have to ask is, how is everyone doing? How was everyone's day today? Anything happen? Did anything interesting happen over the day? Did you do anything fun or exciting? And just, yeah, how is everything going? Not really much for me to talk about, at least not right now. I've just been chilling and kind of doing my own thing. I was working on my show, doing some more world building, and I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, or maybe it's just coincidence. But, sometimes I like to watch YouTube videos and I'll watch like Vampire the Masquerade or I'll watch other TTRPGs. And so, what I figured out, what I actually learned is that sort of when I was making my show, when I was doing world building and stuff like that, it actually has some similarity to what's it called? It has some similarity to Shadowrun, and I'm just telling you guys right now that is completely coincidental. I did if it ever comes out that like, oh, Amobi, are you plagiarizing Shadowrun? No, I'm not. I swear on my life, I'm not plagiarizing Shadowrun. It's just purely coincidence. Like I swear on my life. So if you guys ever say, this looks familiar, or something doesn't seem so kosher, just it was an accident. Okay, it was an accident. Don't get mad at me. Don't try to say I'm plagiarizing because that is not my intention. I hate plagiarism myself. I would never plagiarize. I guess things just kind of end up being very similar to each other for some reason. Cause like in in Shadowrun, there's this whole like meta humanity, and like I think it was like a sickness or a disease or something that caused like magic to return to the world, and I'm like, my show sounds a lot like this. Witches 13 sounds a lot like this. Maybe I should make a statement or something like that in case issues happen in the future. Because I'm trying to make my debut, and like the whole thing with me is because I sort of have to work twice as hard. Okay, like I didn't get the major or the degree I wanted, and I'm working in retail right now. So even though it's an in between, I still have some rocky feelings about it, and yeah, feelings about it, and yeah, I'm human. So like that's just a given. It happens to the best of us. It happens to everyone. Where was I going with this? But yeah, I'm human. I just have certain feelings and emotions on the subject, so it's like I'm not trying to steal ideas. I'm just coming up with my own. And like that's sort of the funny thing is that I'm even remembering moments in college where it's like, my professor said there's no such thing as an original idea anymore. Like everything's been done already. But like I think that original concepts and original ideas can still exist. You just sort of have to put your own spin on it. Like I would definitely say that when it comes to things like world building, Shadowrun is definitely more, I want to say, technology based. Like one of the major things about Shadowrun is the existence of cyberware. Like for those of you who don't know, or for those of you who are just tuning into the channel or aren't well versed on TTRPGs, and keep in mind I haven't even played Shadowrun. The most I've seen of Shadowrun is maybe like one or two lore videos on YouTube, and then there was like a sale um on like the Shadowrun trilogy, but I just looked at the game description. I didn't even buy it or anything like that. So even my knowledge of Shadowrun is fairly limited. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so, cyberware. So essentially, Shadowrun is a cross between high fantasy and cyberpunk. So there is that sort of blend or mesh of science fantasy where both technology and magic exist. Rather, I guess in Shadowrun, magic and technology work against each other. So it's like if you have cyberware and you're like a major shaman, then it's difficult for you to use magic because the cyberware sort of affects your karma. At least that's what I've read from the lore. Whereas in the show I'm creating, there is no such thing as like karma or, well, first of all, cyberware and implanting yourself with machinery in general doesn't even exist in Witcher 13 because there's really no need for it. So that's already sort of one thing in the uniqueness category is there's still differences that exist in the world that I'm creating and what is common. So that's a pro, that's a plus. And like I did see that in Shadowrun, there's sort of like this. Again, I'm not well versed on the lore. The most I got is from like two videos, but essentially there's like this fifth world and sixth world. And so essentially the fifth world is like our world, like our history up to the point of like if magic never existed. And so once magic came back to the world, it became the sixth world. Like those were like the major things that really made me stop and really try to calculate is just the, even though I had never seen, never played, never even heard of Shadowrun when I was making my show, it's still like sort of scary and funny that I've come to similar conclusions. Like in Shadowrun, elves are seen as sex objects, and in my show, which is 13, I sort of came to that same conclusion of like elves being sexualized or being seen as like a fad because of their exotic nature. And so I guess my overarching fear is failing or is coming short before I even had the chance to succeed or taste success. Like one of the biggest fears I have is someone coming into my comments and saying like, "Oh, you stole this from XYZ," or "This is a concept that's from this show or that show." And then I'm like, "No, just give it a chance. Like I'm not trying to steal anything. It was just coincidence or no, I didn't even know that existed." But like I still have hope and it's not like and it's a good thing I'm doing these streams and I'm really like these streams aren't just for like buffer content, but I do also believe that these streams are a nice catalog because when I was still in college and I was working on my video essay, like I had to submit reports on my progress of like what I've done and sort of how far I've come. And so, even though it wasn't required of me, what I did and what I did when I was writing those reports is I also added different addendums, like my personal thoughts and feelings and reflections on sort of what I wrote and what I wanted to express. And I can't pull them up right now because I'd have to fish through some files and there's some files on my computer that I don't want anyone seeing, at least not right now. But like once I get a second monitor or or a better computer and really set things up and have like dual monitors and splitters and stuff like that, I'll definitely share like my screen or whatever. Where was I going with this? Oh yes, but like I had several different addendums on the project. Like I went into detail of like, you know, what does this project make me feel? And like, am I doing this out of altruistic study or to prove a point? And like through my research, I've learned a lot. How am I going to affect and share and help other people? And honestly, yeah, if you are ever working on a project, especially something that is going to take a while, and this can be for anything. If you're a college student or research and anthropology is your job, and you're going to be writing like dissertation papers or research studies and final drafts and stuff like that, definitely get into the nature of chronicling your feelings, your personal thoughts and feelings. Just not only so you have an outlet, but sharing your personal feelings can also explore some of the more subtle or subconscious feelings and aspects that go into what you do, what you plan, and what you are moving towards. Your subconscious emotional mind allows you to refine and sort of pinpoint your logic. If that makes sense. Because that's the whole thing is we as humans are both emotional and logical. It's not one or the other. And so we have to sort of reconcile, are we seeking answers or are we just seeking to prove whatever preconceived notions we already have? So, chronicling your emotions and writing addendums in research papers or progress reports can sort of curb and allow you to and sort of allow you to uh, keep yourself in check and make sure you're not overreaching or make sure you're not being subjective or being nitpicky on what choices you make. So yeah, this stream is just a good chronicler of that. But like I'll definitely say like working on this teaser trailer, being on the last legs of it and just working on assets and different things like that, I've definitely grown a lot. My animation has definitely gotten better. I'm working on other mini exercises now. I really want to work on like my faces and how my characters emote and also on my lip syncing because that is something that I need practice with. Transformations, pretty much what I need. The two big things that I need to work on is transformations. So like if a character is like a regular person and they're turning into a monster, like I need to work on that. And as well as like facial, more dynamic and emotive actions in my animation. I mean, I think I got like fights down pack. I just need to work on effects and exaggerated emotions. But all in all, things are going pretty well. I can't really complain. As far as my day job, those people over there are crazy as hell. Like the supervisor, I'm not going to share names, but like he essentially went off and just started yelling at everybody. Like, so I've already told you guys this before, but essentially I work in like the electronics department, and you know, there's even though we have like maybe 2 to 3 people working over there, they still like to pull us apart and like pull us away. So like even though we have 2 to 3 people assigned over there, there's only one person working over there because they either pull us away to do reshops or work the truck or something else like that. And so like 2 days ago, my final day for the week, I was over there by myself, and one of the supervisors, he's like, "Hey, I need you to zone from here to there in like furniture." And so the wireless specialist is not a direct Walmart employee. Rather, they're in partnership with Walmart, so it's like they're a separate company and they have more leniencies with things. But anyway, she was like, "Hey, I know you have him doing this, but like, are you gonna have somebody watching over electronics?" And so then he just starts yelling and it's like, "Oh, I've been working over here for 25 years. Don't worry about that. Don't do that. Don't do that." And like he was just going off. And like the wireless specialist, she was like very calm and I was there in front of her. Like she just asked it, very calmly. And she said, "Yeah, I know. I'm not questioning your judgment. I'm just saying, like, this dude was in the back getting TVs, which I was. Like, 3 people asked for like 75-inch TVs, and we don't keep them on the floor. So I like had to go out. I mean, I had to leave my post, and because I'm the only one in electronics, there's nobody else to watch the floor. So I had to leave from my department to go in the back room to get those 75-inch TVs. And so there was like at least a 2 to 3 hour time span to where there was just nobody in electronics except for the wireless specialist. And again, because they're in partnership, the wireless specialist can't do everything. So they can't sell laptops, they can't sell video games, and they can't really advise people on like what TVs to get or whatever like that. And so like I was even listening to her. She was on the PA saying like, customer assistance needed in this department, management needed in this department, and nobody came. Like I was still the only one there helping, and I was busy and preoccupied helping other customers. So that's what she told the guy, and then he just like doubled down and started shouting at her, saying like, "Don't worry about that. Like I've been working here for 25 years." And like it was just horrible. Even though he wasn't signaling me out, it still it felt horrible to be in the vicinity of that, because I consider myself a fairly a both logical and empathetic person. I try to see the best in people, and I also try to be kind. So it's like, and then on top of that, because of my education and the courses I've taken, I do perceive myself as a somewhat formal and business centric person entity. So it's like, to just have someone brazenly shout at someone and make a mountain out of a molehill over just, simple comments and concerns, and getting heated and angry at someone is out of the norm. Like, that's not normal, nor is it a good thing. And it's one of the reasons why, I'm just trying not to be at that job any longer than I have to be. Like, let me save up some money on the side. Let me, build my wealth. Let me get this YouTube channel done. So then it's like, as soon as a better opportunity comes, I can leave. I don't want to be there any longer than I have to be, because in my humble opinion, a lot of people who work in Walmart, a lot of people who work in retail, they're sort of stuck in high school. It's like they've peaked in high school. They didn't do any sort of growing, and so now they're just carrying that emotional baggage with them, and they're making issues and problems for other people. Cause where I work, it's just a big high school. Like, I've grown out of high school. I've done some growing and developing on my own. Like, I'm not trying to relive high school, but it's like it's just full of people trying to intimidate you, or trying to control you, or like, thinking they know better and can't be told anything. Which is kind of funny, because it's not like I'm trying to take away from them. Like, you're a supervisor, you're a high ranking member. Like, I know you've earned that position, but it's like they can't even take constructive criticism. Or when you question them, or when you have a comment or concern, it's like you get met with ridicule and attacks. Like, they don't know how to appease people, they don't know how to dilute a situation, or calm a situation. They just say, stick your head in the ground and do what we tell you. Don't think, don't question. And it's freaking chaotic over there. Like, and this may sound negative or harsh, or this may even be considered bad idea. But if you are someone with a college education, do not work in retail. That is the best advice I can do you. I I don't care how long it takes for you to find a job in your field. You can work any sort of 9 to 5 or side job you want to, but for the sake of your sanity, if you have a college education and you're waiting to get into your field, do not work in retail because it is horrible. It is a cesspit, and that's really all I can say. That is really the only thing that can be said. Is it's just horrible. It's torture. You're gonna hate it. You're gonna want to strangle somebody. Just don't work in retail. I will say that one of the favorite aspects I have of working on this show in general, and specifically the world building aspect, is the cities. Like, I've always been sort of like a more urban person. I just love the look of buildings. I love the looks of tall buildings above the skyline and like just looking up and feeling small. I like the idea of a bunch of people around me walking on the street, just enjoying their daily life and looking at their own things. One of the things I really love to do and what I really enjoy doing is just going out some days. And I'll go to the mall or I'll go downtown to downtown Raleigh. And I just like to sit, sketch, and people walk. People watch. So, like, I'll watch people that are living amongst themselves and doing their own thing and walking to and from. It sounds kind of strange, but it's just something I enjoy doing. There is a sense of life and a sense of, that's all I can say is there's just a sense of life that comes in when I see people just doing their own thing and enjoying life. It's something that I think of as beautiful. So, creating this city, Neo, New York, which is the location that I'm building and making assets for, it's just beautiful, and I just really love and enjoy working on this and making this. It's a big aspect that I wanted to really push and sort of have. Because in my mind, I think of cities as the future. And yeah, there's a bunch of environmental issues. Like there's plenty of media going over global warming and threats to the earth and poaching and killing whales and stuff like that. I just want to make something that is fun. I want to make a project that is about hope. And I guess and again, I think I've mentioned this in previous streams, but one of the big aspects of the show I'm making is hope. Hope and potential are two big things, not just themes for this world, but themes for the story in general, is having hope and seeing potential in others, in your surroundings, how you can make the world a better place, and sort of a style of living to aspire to. And this show isn't really a guideline on how to live a good life. Rather, I guess this show is more so giving examples of what a good life can look like. It's not really trying to tell people how to live their life. Rather, it's showing people hope for the future and what we can grow to be like, look like, and one day enjoy. I mean, a part of me does hope that I was able to bring this world to life through these live streams and through these different facets and aspects that I've shared with you all. I do hope you guys can say, I understand why you're doing that, or that makes sense, or I can't wait to see what comes of this. I don't really have specific functions or purposes for these buildings. They mainly are for aesthetic purposes, and I am drawing multiple different assets and aspects on top of each other because eventually I do have to sort of put it all together, and there's going to be many different moving buildings. That's why you see the line art on different layers, is because each of these individual buildings or small clusters of them are going to be sort of on their own layer that I'm going to have moving in After Effects. After Effects does allow you to sort of have multiple things moving at once, and it does allow you for small animations and small moving parts and portions. Hmm. Okay, it looks like the line art for this building is done. Before I was working on this, last night I had actually was working on another animation. I was working on another magic animation because I really want to work on my different particle effects and the things that go into that. I'm trying to really simplify it, or at the very least get a better understanding of how I want certain types of magic to look, to better help audiences distinguish the niches and the more specific kinds of magic that certain characters use. Because magic is sort of roughly defined into two schools, which are logic and emotion, sort of like human nature in general, how we have this logic and emotion split. But essentially, magic that is channeled through logic requires people to think through their magic. So they'll say, like, oh, if I want to cast a fire spell, then I need oxygen and I also need a spark or some sort of ignition. And ignition is made through like electricity, which is like the movement of atoms or the release of electrons, different things like that, different, mathematical and scientific phenomenon. Whereas magic that is channeled and expressed through emotion, that is more so like, feeling the heat of the sun or the coolness of the wind, stuff like that. And there are certain like, and then even in those two major ways that magic is cast, there's also more minute details. Like certain magic users may use math, others may use chemistry or other forms of science. They might do physics, what have you, like pressure and temperature or whatever. Whereas finer emotions, they might be like, oh, the person has to be calm, or oh, the person needs to feel a certain emotion in order to increase the potency. A lot of different stuff. And I'm definitely still working on my sketchbook. I completed some more sketches of different characters and sort of like the main villains, at least two of them. I need to work on some more sketches for them. I need to write some more in my sketchbook as well to do further world building. But I'm definitely planning and plotting and putting certain things in motion already. Let's see here. Hmm, 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 hmm. So I need to draw this building right here and that cylinder building over there. And then after that, I think all I have to do is just draw the building clusters. Unless I want to draw this building as its own separate thing. Excuse me. Clearing my throat. I may actually need to run and get my water bottle. It's just like over here by my bed. So give me 1 second. I gotta find like a nice playlist or maybe some nice rain sounds, copyright free, that I can play in the background so then you guys have something to listen to while I'm drawing because, well, actually, no, because I sometimes see other streamers, other art streamers and animation streamers, and they usually don't like have music or sound, so I guess it's okay. It's just sometimes I feel self conscious, like maybe I'm not doing something right or I'm boring you guys, and that's the last thing I want to do is bore you guys. Oh, that's the eraser. I thought I had the brush on. Okay, that's another building down. I got one more to go, and then I'll just work on some of these different clusters of buildings. think I'll come back to that building. For now, I just want to work on these small clusters because I've sort of been avoiding them, not really doing them, and it's kind of getting on my nerves. So now I just want to. So the reason why I'm drawing these different aspects and these different buildings on different layers is because when I interlace them through After Effects, I'm trying to give a more realistic and more authentic sort of scene. So essentially, what it's going to look like is there are going to be some buildings that are moving forward, and then like a few sparse ones that are moving backwards. Or no, let me rephrase that. The majority of buildings are going to be moving from their origin to the left, and then there might be a few buildings that are moving from their origin point where I placed them to the right. And this is more so to give a sense and feeling of movement, yet at the same time distortion. Because when you are walking or moving somewhere, certain objects come into view and other objects leave your frame of view. And so it's that combination of left and right that I really want to express a sense and feeling of depth and proportion. And this is actually a concept and sort of a animation tools that many animators as well as set designers in the industry use to sort of sell depth in a piece or in an animation because it saves on time to draw different assets and have those different assets bundled together to make a setting or to make a background for a scene. It just adds to the depth factor. And I want to say about maybe 2 months ago, I actually posted scene two of my teaser trailer, which had I think two or three buildings moving from right to left. So again, that just adds to the depth. And then the different buildings were again drawn on different layers and they were interlaced and placed on top of or below each other. Again, to further sell that sense of depth, because if you pay close attention, certain segments of the animation were behind certain things and other segments were below certain things. And these are different tools and different skill sets that we as animators will learn to hone and take advantage of to help us when we are working on a project. So after I finish these buildings, I'm definitely gonna work on the different sky islands because those are, I don't know, like that's just my favorite aspect of all of this is just the sky islands and the different buildings that are being drawn that float in the sky. I do need to draw some bridges though. I've been working on sort of like an overview or a wider shot of New York in my sketchbook and how these islands are connected. But I've just been working on the islands themselves. I haven't worked on any like vehicles, flying vehicles, or anything like that. And I do need to find a good airship design because yes, I know you guys are probably judging me right now, but I do want to add airships to my show because I think that's really going to be one of the bridges between science and fantasy because we do have like okay, this is coming from like 2000. So at the year 2000 when fantasy was sort of at its height, you have a lot of people who were scientists or who are nerds, and then they discover, like, oh, magic is real now, magic is a thing now. So they're likely trying to, make their imaginations come to life. So there is going to be a lot of like, people are going to be wearing wizard robes and floppy hats, sort of as like a fashion statement, at least early on. You're going to see sort of like this modern spin on wizard hats and glasses. There's gonna be people wearing capes like this like these techno cape fashion. Um, Airships are gonna be thing too because I don't know. Like this is just a time period where the nerds are in charge. That's really all I can say. Is this sort of like the aesthetic I'm going for? Is like the nerds are in charge. The nerds make the fashion, which is why like there's a bunch of elves and people like that who like elves and their sort of aesthetic is sexualized and there's sort of like a whole entire entertainment industry based on beastmen and elves because I'm more so going for a more realistic approach. Like my entire thought process was, if elves existed today, how would people treat them? If freaking wolfmen and cat girls existed today, how would people treat them? Like I think people would not treat them as slaves. Like I don't think slavery would exist in Witches 13. Rather, a lot of the issues would come from like these different sub races of people being sexualized and sort of thirsted after. That's like where the big crux of the issues come from. And I think that's definitely a good way to go because, especially when we shifted from the 90s to the early and mid 2000s, there was definitely a shift to more to industry as well as basic, at least American society being more desire focused, focusing on decadence and pleasure and things like that. So that is, oh, I almost scared myself. I have an audio cable and it rubbed against my leg. I thought it was like, I don't know, something. Where was I? Oh yeah. So the time period is the early to mid 2000s, which is during that shift of essentially when things like pleasure and desire and chasing desire was put on the forefront. So that's really where this mentality of sexualization is coming from, especially in like hip hop culture and rap culture is definitely in the early 2000s, early and mid 2000s was really when the sort of sexualization began. And it's sort of held fast and held through to 2023 and through 2022 in fact. I will say one of the hardest parts of looking for a job is definitely the whole excuse me, is the whole like finding the right job because I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm a bit niche. So like I'm a 2D animator. That means that any job I get is gonna have to be in 2D animation or something in that vein. So like storyboarding or storyboard art, different things like that. And what's difficult for me is the fact that I am fairly confident in my skills. I'm just waiting for that one company to take a chance on me and say, you know what, we'll get you to be our storyboard artist, or we'll get you to do cleanup on our animation, like do cleanup on our final line art, or do in between. That's really what I'm looking for, and it's taking me a while. Like I will say that you definitely need a network going in. That's why April can't get here any sooner. I swear. April cannot get here any sooner because as soon as it does, I am going to be networking like a mad lad. I'm going to be sharing my business cards. I'll likely carry my sketchbook or two sketchbooks with me so that I can show some of my sketches and work I've done, different things like that. Because honestly, I'm taking my great aunt's advice to heart. Like she says, like, you're a very interesting person. You just don't seek people. People seek you, or people seek to interact with you. So that's sort of the stance and the method I'm gonna try to take is make myself seem like an interesting person. Talk to people, be kind, and just talk about my different strengths and weaknesses and in general conversation, as well as just share with people my love and passion. And then hopefully someday, like somebody will see and will get and will hire me for a job, because one of the things that I'll never forget is like, so I was a part of this after school program called the Salvation Army. And the Salvation Army, it's known for like being a volunteer Christian organization that, raises money or helps impoverished people and helps women and children and other stuff like that. But they also had like, at least towards downtown Raleigh, they had sort of this after school care program. And I went there when I was really young. And so once in a while they like to bring motivational speakers to talk to the kids. And so there was this one motivational speaker they brought, and like he said something that stuck with me, and it has continued to stick with me into my adulthood. And it was like, as long as you have passion and as long as you show that you're serious and you show that you have passion for your work, people are going to flock to you, and someone is going to help you. Someone is going to like pay your tuition or get you a job, whatever it may be. Just have a mission and just show passion. And honestly, that is true. Even though I didn't really get the results that I intended, I'm still showing my passion, and my YouTube channel has been steadily growing. I have what, 223 subscribers at the while I'm streaming right now. Like I have 223 subscribers, and that number steadily grows. And I am just thankful and I'm happy, and this is becoming habit, but I'm still going to do it. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for liking my videos, sharing them. Some of you even rewatch them, and I just want to say thank you for that. You guys are awesome. You guys are kind. And I just want to say thank you so much. And my growth has been very exponential. When I was first starting out, it took me a while, but it's like I'm now up to like 223. Guys, road to 500, road to 1,000. Like that's really all I can say. Is like if I get 500 subscribers, I don't really know what I'm going to do. It's probably going to be something special, like an extra long stream maybe. I don't know, or like I'll do a stream with my camera on and you guys get to see my lovely face. It's not that lovely. Or like I don't know what I'm going to do for a 500 subscriber special, but for an 1,000 subscriber special, like it's gonna be spectacular. It's gonna be very special. But like, I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by my channel and leaving likes or comments and just supporting me. Like, you guys are truly and genuinely awesome, and I'm so thankful that I've had people come to me and say, "Yeah, we like your stuff, or your stuff is really good. Keep it up." And you touched me with this video, or I learned so much from this video, and I'm just thankful for it. That's all I can say is thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You guys are the best. And I'm nowhere close to being the best animator that ever lived, but I definitely at least want to strive to be that. I definitely want to work and fight and strive and grow to be one of, if not the best, 2D animators in the world. I just love animation, and I've loved it since I was small. Like I fell in love with art and storytelling. And this is just something that I want to do. There's no other way I can describe it other than like I found my purpose in life. I know that sounds kind of crazy or kind of wild, but it genuinely feels like I found that this is my calling or this is my purpose is to animate and to tell stories. I love it, and I know I need to grow. I know I need to get better, and I'm nowhere near perfect. I'll never claim to be, but I can definitely say that the me of the present is definitely more skilled, knowledgeable, and courageous than how I was when I was younger. And I am in a rough patch right now. Like I'm somewhere where I really don't want to be. I don't like my job. I don't like some of the people at my job, but it's still something. It's something until I get to where I want to be, where I'm supposed to be. And who knows? Maybe I will join a studio, or maybe I'll make my own studio. Maybe I'll work in animation, or I might be some type of editor first, or some storyboard artist, or graphic designer. I don't know. But I do have an umbrella of skills and things that I've done and that I'm fairly good at. And I guess what I'm trying to say is my strength comes in my umbrella of skill sets. Like, I'm an animator first and foremost, I'm a 2D animator first and foremost, but because I've had to be self taught and because I'm well read, and because of this YouTube channel, even, I do have skills and understandings in other aspects of art and animation. Like, I know how to design characters, I know about color theory, I know how to edit videos because I'm live streaming right now, or I make different guides and informative videos on my channel. I edit my audio because I don't want my stuff to be messy for you guys, and I want to actually have my videos be easily understandable and cleaned up so you guys aren't, having to mess with the audio mix on your end or like turn the volume up or whatever. I'm rambling. Uh, what did I say? I edit videos. I design characters. I'd have to say that oddly enough, I'm also really good at logo design. Like I'm really good at graphic design and logo designs because my banners and the logos and the different logos I've done and drawn are like really good. Like maybe I should have been a graphic designer first. Maybe that should have been like the thing I put myself into. Like it's funny because designing banners and designing logos and other graphics like that comes easy to me, but I chose to be an animator. And like animation is the thing that I'm really focusing on. So, I think what I'm gonna do, and I'm not taking that blessing for granted. I I'm not just gonna like derelict. I'm not just gonna ignore or forget about the skills and the aptitudes I have in graphic design because that is something else that I honed and I love and enjoy as well. Maybe I should really think about looking into more graphic design positions on top of animation. So then I can, find work or find different gig work in graphic design while still honing my animation skills on the side. That could be rather fun, rather exciting. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff at the wall right now because look, when you're accomplished but you're working at a job you hate, you kind of just say, "You know what? I'll take anything at this point. Just get me the fuck up on that." Excuse me. I usually don't curse like that. But usually, when you're somewhere that you hate, you say, you know what, whatever I throw at the wall that sticks, I'm gonna go for it. So, like, I'm really at that point. At this point, if I have to take a graphic design job, I will. I'm not gonna be picky. If I have to draw logos for a year or two before I work in animation, then so be it. Because honestly, retail ain't it. That's all I can say is retail is not it. I swear the people I'm working with are crazy. So. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I've just been rambling on and on and on. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Y'all are probably annoyed by me. You're probably saying like, "Dude, stop talking about retail. Talk about your animation. Talk about your world building." And I'm just sorry. Like I'm just going with the flow. I'm low key having a panic attack right now. Like I'm just rambling and going on and talking about 5, 10 different things at one time, and I'm talking this way and I'm talking that way. The sun is shining right now, and it looks so beautiful. See, I told you I was crazy. I told you I'm having a panic attack right now. So anyway, how's everyone's day going? What's up with you guys? Are you guys enjoying this nice little reprieve as you hear my soft voice and you listen to me as I go on and on and on about stuff in animation or whatever the heck I'm talking about? Sometimes I don't even know what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, this animation is going. Yeah, these assets are coming along nicely. Got a few more buildings to draw. I think after I'm done, after I find a nice stopping point with this, I'm definitely gonna work on my business cards as well as my new banner some more because I mainly finished like the background that I want for my new banner. I just need to work on a piece of character art that I'm going to place over inside of the banner. And then I also need to work on the text as well. As for my business cards, I want to settle on a nice design that does not take from anything else I've been working on. What else? Banner, business cards. I'm working on two mini animations. I'm working on a lot of stuff. Oh, and I'm working on a new video. I'm working on a video about what was it again? I'm working on a video about dang, my brain stopped working. Networking as an introvert. And so essentially, okay, look, let me just tell you something. All of this I put on my live stream, like all this energy, it's just a facade. And you can tell too because early on in my streams, I'm very quiet and I'm low talking, and it's only until like midway and afterwards I really like hype up and get energetic. But for the most part, like if you were to meet me in public, I'm just a very quiet person. You probably wouldn't even think I was a YouTuber. You probably think I just worked at retail from 9 to 5 and that was just my life. But I know, like I'm a fairly quiet person. All of this, I'm just telling you straight up, is for show. Like I am sitting at home, comfortable by myself, so I can afford to be, a bit loud and a bit exaggerated from time to time. But for the most part, like I'm quiet. And I'm kind of doing that right now where I'm slowly starting to talk lower and slower and just be more quiet and reserved. But and so essentially, when I was younger, um, I was definitely more, quiet and shy. And this goes into I sort of had like a bad childhood. I've mentioned this before in previous streams, but I was a bit of a crybaby when I was younger. And so I was either bullied or people just didn't want to interact with me. So, like, I was usually by myself. So I played video games or I read books. And so that was pretty much kind of my life up to that point. Fairly antisocial. Didn't really interact with anybody because I didn't really want to be bothered with anybody. Most people were mean to me. And so, and then on top of that, how I was brought up is I was brought up very humble. So it's like, oh, be nice to everybody, don't cause trouble. Like, some people are dangerous, yada, yada, yada. So, networking, especially once I had moved out for college and I was living on campus, networking and talking to people was kind of difficult for me because it felt like I was taking advantage of people or I was using people. And so it really took me growing up and almost working in retail to learn how to be more vocal as well as how to talk to people. Like, for what it's worth, as much as I hate retail, I did learn a few things from it, and it did teach me how to network and talk to people. Like I would just talk general conversation. Like, how's the weather? How's your day going? Anything happen? I might make like a comment or two on what they're buying. Like, oh, you're buying ink. What kind of printing are you doing? Or, oh, you're looking for a computer. Is there anything specific you're looking for? Different stuff like that. And so, through those things and through those instances, I've been able to sort of build a rapport with people and learn how to talk to people as an introvert. And being an introvert isn't a bad thing. It's not like you have to switch and become an extrovert because you're an introvert. I say stay an introvert. You just need to sort of adapt. And this is actually something I learned in my leadership as well as my when I was in college, I took leadership courses and I also took management courses. And so some of the things that they taught me is that, you know, being an introvert isn't a bad thing. Rather, it's like two sides of the same coin. So with extroverts, they are more, proactive, energetic. They are quick to address situations. Whereas introverts isn't being a bad thing. Introverts tend to be more patient and careful and analytical. So that's how I see things is you have to be patient and analytical with situations and also be careful with them. Like, you don't want to tell too much information. You want to think critically with how you talk to people, which is why I say, start off with general information or general conversation. Like, how are you? How's your day going? What's up? Stuff like that. You also want to start with different conversation starters. So, like, if you're an artist, you may want to have your sketchbook out and do some drawing because then people are gonna say, like, oh, you sketch, oh, you draw, you do X, Y, Z. And then you can say, oh, yeah, I do that. And then that's a nice conversation starter to where you can share information about your art, about your work, and potentially even share different social media. Like, I will say that, like, a portion of the subscribers I have now are from people I've networked with or are from people who I've met and talked to, and they've either followed me directly or they've talked to people and those people have followed me on the basis of how people have interacted with me and how I've talked to them and interacted with them. Again, networking is a good strong suit, and it really just boils down to perception, how you perceive networking. If you perceive networking as taking advantage of people, then you will never network. However, if you see network as just sharing your love for what you do, then you could go at it for hours. And that's sort of what needs to be done is don't see networking as using people. See networking as sharing your love for your craft. And things will be 100 times easier. Just share your love for your craft. That's all I can say. And then people will naturally flock to you depending on just how much energy or how much love you give to it. If someone sees your passion, then they are gonna flock to you. Like, the world is built off of passion. A lot of people have supported people based on their passion and based on their love for what they do or what they believe in. Look at Martin Luther King, look at Malcolm X, look at many of the people who have spearheaded movements and other factions and stuff like that. They got the support they got because of their passion and because of their love. Hmm. So I've talked about themes and about how hope and potential are big themes, but one of the major sort of plot points I want for Witcher's 13 in general. Like I'm world building this entire world, so eventually I do plan on having like other series and other stories that take place inside of this new world. And maybe I might even make like I don't know, an entire TTRPG about this. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, but I do plan on telling other stories that isn't just about, a faction of witches and magic users that are seeking revenge, but I would like to explore stories about the police force or about, maybe a coalition of inventors who are trying to build new technology using magic and other advancements or issues that may come about in this world. But for the Witches 13 story specifically, one of the plot points I do want is sort of a shift from seeking revenge to seeking justice. People who were hurt and harmed, and at one point they were seeking revenge and they were seeking to get even, but over the course of the story, their hatred hasn't died down and their disdain hasn't diminished. They're still angry. They're still hurt people, but rather they are now seeking sort of justice for the wrongdoings that were done to them rather than seeking overt pain and suffering on those that hurt and harm them. I'm just checking to see how all of these elements are going to blend together. So for right now, let me actually hide this and turn these on because I want to get an understanding of the scope for all this. Definitely a busy design and definitely congested. It really just needs some color for right now, and then things will really piece together and come together. I do see that there is a bit of a white space right here where there's not really anything over here. So I do actually want to consult my rough sketch real quick and see if there's anything that is planned to be over in that area. And it does appear as though there are going to be a few small buildings. There's going to be a building right here, this floating island right here, another building that's going to appear behind, something over there. This is actually very congested. And I actually think that, hmm, well, no, I actually think that for all the assets that I'm drawing, it's going to be okay because in the end, this is going to be sort of spanning multiple different layers and scenes. And I still have an entirely different sort of mini scene within a scene that needs assets drawn for it as well that are going to have to be cut and spliced in. So I guess it's really just a matter of how much I want to dedicate to this. Sounds kind of crazy when I say it that way, but all in all, time consuming, but this is something that I just love and enjoy doing. I love the aspect of designing characters and drawing different assets for an animation, backgrounds, characters, stuff like that. It's so exciting and it just gives me this feeling and sense of fulfillment and accomplishment, especially since this project is very much coming to a close. And I'm scared, but I'm also excited to see just what will become of this and just how things will go and what will be completed, what will be done after this, because this is honestly a long time coming. I've worked on this for a while now. Almost what? A whole year, maybe 2 years. No, not 2 years. Definitely not 2 years. This hasn't been 2 years long, but this has been a year long effort. But at the same time, I'm sort of listening to my dad as well because my dad told me, a movie don't rush, take your time, make sure that what you put out there looks good. And so, what I'm grappling with, or rather, what I'm trying to find a balance of, is completing this teaser trailer in a reasonable amount of time while also ensuring that the quality of the teaser trailer looks good. Because right now, I'm just working on the assets. I'm working on the assets, I'm working on making sure everything looks good and presentable because as soon as I put this through After Effects and do my special compositing and adding filters or adding different motions and different effects, blurs and stuff like that, there's really not much left for me to do. And then I can just post this video. And then, it'll be out there in the ether. for people to watch and enjoy and indulge in. And then you guys can say, this looks like shit, and mass dislike it. But anyway, in all seriousness, getting tongue tied now. I've been talking for too long. You see, that's why I'm so quiet, is because if I talk for too long, I get tongue tied easily. And I may start spouting off at the mouth. What was I saying? I'm just enjoying this project, and I'm enjoying doing and working on this project. It's been very fun, very exciting. Am I scared? Yes, but am I excited? Also, yes. Anyway, I've kept you guys hostage for quite a while. Bring this I better bring this stream to a close. It's been fun and it's been nice. There wasn't much coloring, but for what I've been doing, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the line art and the constant erasing or pressing the undo button. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share even if you want to. I also have a buy me a coffee and a I also have a buy me a coffee and a Patreon in the description below, as well as a Fiverr account, or you can email me directly if you want me to work on something for you, a piece of art, or maybe a logo or something like that. But all in all, I do hope you guys were able to wind down and enjoy yourself. Tune into my stream here and there from whatever you may be going through. Maybe you're at work and you've just been working real hard and you want to calm down for a minute. Or maybe you're, I don't know, doing something else, having a hard time. But whatever it is, I helped you get through it. And I hope my experiences or the different things I shared with you was able to put a smile on your day. Anyway, this has been Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And I'll see you corner creeps in my next video or stream. Bye.